Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hey, welcome everybody to Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. That means it's Saturday. If you're watching this live, and if you're not, just pretend it is, maybe, as long as it doesn't get you fired. I think that's a good rule. As long as it doesn't get you fired. Today's topic on the tutorial show is going to be the first ever Events 2.0. It's Festival of Fools, Year 7. We are back with Festival of Fools, and it is more festival-y than ever. I don't know where I was going with that one. Joining me in the production booth is Gabe. Always nice to have Gabe here. Gabe's going to be grabbing questions from chat. As long as you put, as it says down below, question : in front of your question. That'll go into a little backstage document over here. And then, and then I'll get to them eventually. Because that's the thing about the tutorial show. I talk about the topic for about an hour, and then I answer questions for about an hour, and I do jazz hands the whole time. No. So we have to put the questions over here, but you can ask them anytime, and then the second half of the show, I will get to them. It doesn't have to be just on the topic today, but I will address those first, and then I'll get to anything else. And then I will get to everything else, hopefully. So, Events 2.0, slightly different than the past. So today, if you're used to how the event tutorial shows go, it's going to be a little different. So, let's dive in. So, normally when you're playing the game, when you're at the map screen, you see the map like this. You'll see the Grand Tour all the way down to Turn of Fortune's Wheel and stuff to do and yada yada yada. But when an event happens, still, it pops into the top of the banner up here because it's like, hi, I'm new and time limited. Come do me instead. When you click on it, you come over to a new map with an adventure node, and that adventure node is gonna now have a couple things for you to do. Just two. There'll be two. Starting off, two featured champions. Dhadius in this event, and the Dark Urge. These are our new champions. Dhadius is a reintroduced champion, which basically means they've reworked Dhadius to give them a little more pep in their step. And then the new champion coming to the game is the Dark Urge. And this will be kind of the way this works going forward. There's going to be 2 featured champions. 2 featured champions. More often than not, one will be brand new, and the second one will be a rework. However, on rare occasion, there may be 2 brand new champions or 2 reworked champions. So, you know, there's exceptions to every rule, but generally speaking, 1 new, 1 rework. Events now happen once a month. No more like every 3 weeks, and when did that one end? When does the next one start? What's going on? Once a month, the event will always start on the first Wednesday of every month. So this month for March, the event started on March 6th, Wednesday, March 6th at noon. And now, instead of a 12-day run, they go 21 days. So full 3 weeks. This will end towards the end of the month on the 27th at noon. Okay, so you get 3 full weeks. Now, why 3 weeks for 2 champions? We'll get to that. We will get to that, I promise. But first, but wait, there's more. First, we're going to talk a little more about the other things that are going on in the event from this screen, because we actually have to get into an adventure for us to talk about the other changes that have happened. So, as normal, events come with their own kind of favor. For this event, you know, for every event, you're going to start out at 0, and then you go have to earn some more. I've earned a little bit. I've earned a little bit. I think there's some more meat on that bone, but it's a good number for me to start with. It's a good number for me to start with. We still have event tokens in this for this event. They're penance. Now, the big difference here is that if we go back and we look on this page, there's no cost. There's no pennant cost. You're not paying event tokens for anything anymore. That's right, folks. You can do your unlock adventure. You can do your variants. You can do free plays as much as you want. It doesn't consume any penance whatsoever. There's still a time-based drop, 1 every 25 seconds. You can still get extras with bounty tokens, or bounty contracts, excuse me, which is why I have like 600,000 of them. But you don't spend them on adventures or variants or free plays anymore. And that's because, and if you'll note, on this free play, there's no chest reward. You still get a chest reward for variants. This is because they have completely detached tokens from the adventure system in an event. And they have put a pack, they call like an event pack, chest pack in the store for each champion, for this event that you can work on in the event, or that you choose to work on. We'll get to that. So right now, if I were to go to the store, there would be a Dhadius event pack. If I go to Dhadius chests at the top, there's going to be an event pack with 3 chests, 2 silvers, 1 gold. And it's going to cost 7,500 tokens. This is the basically this was the average for earning gold chests in the old system. It was 1 gold chest it was a 1 in 3 chance. So 1 gold chest every 3 runs was the average. If you were to do 1,000,000 runs, that was your average. So what they've done at the highest free play cost, the highest free play cost was always 2,500. So what they've done is they've just said, well, if 3 runs at the cap got you, on average, 2 silver chests and 1 gold, we're just going to sell that to people with these tokens. So on day 1, you can just go start buying your chests. You don't have to do any. Once you've unlocked the champions, you can just start gearing them up with whatever tokens you have. And if you're like me, and I know I am, you end up with a lot of tokens right off the bat because you open a lot of bounty contracts, right? You can just gear up that champion on day 1. Now, I haven't geared mine up yet. That's why all those tokens are there. We'll be doing that live on stream in a bit, gearing up the Dark Urge. But yeah, everything, this frees up so much time because in the old system, like I said, you're still doing the variants to get gold chests, and there's more variants than ever. We'll get to that in a minute. You may have noted that on the screen. But you no longer have to grind free plays. It used to be you had to run a free play to 50, complete 50, then complete the adventure and you'd get a random chest as a reward. You don't have to do that anymore. Some of us spent entire days just with the game locked up, just doing loops to burn through all of our tokens. And now all that's gone. Now we can do whatever we want and all that free time. And if we want even more chests, we could just go gem farm, take those gems, buy gold chests, open those gold chests, get more bounty contracts, pop those bounty contracts, get more pennants, use those pennants to buy more event chests. That's the cycle. We can spend all our time doing that now. So the potential to gear up your champions nowadays is, with the new system, even better than before. Even better than before. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Okay. So again, still favor, still events. Now, because there are few, it's one event a month. That means we're only getting 12 events in a year. Down from 17. So those other 5 events are going away. Those were 5 opportunities to get favor to convert into a main campaign. One of the reasons my favor is this high is they have retuned favor, so you'll get a little more. If you're really getting a big amounts of favor, you're going to get a little more in every event to make up, so that over the course of the year you will have earned similar levels of favor by the end of the year. That is the goal. Yeah, that's the goal of this. So overall, everything's looking good. All right, so we come back in here, you'll see once again there's 3 variants for every adventure. That's just the way this game works. When you do the main unlock for each one, Dhadius and the Dark Urge, the first reward the only reward you're going to get now is the champion themselves. Again, no cost. You don't got to wait for a certain number of tokens when the event starts. You can just dive in right away. And then each of the 3 variants has different levels. It used to start at areas. It does. But they've also got tiers. What is this tier thing? What, tier 3? Tier 4? What? Events now have permanent progression paths, basically, for each champion. You start off in tier 1, and I know this might scare some people, but in tier 1, the area goals are the same as they've always been. 75, 125, 175. Okay, but as you go up in tiers, you get a jump. Like, I believe this tier 2, the first variant is like 250, or around there. Tier 3, we're looking at 600. Tier 4, we're looking at 1200. This is long-term progression. New players, you do not have to. Yeah, don't worry about the higher tiers so much, but try. Now, there's no downside to trying like tier 2, the first variant in tier 2, if you think you can do it. Or if you've pushed around 600 before, maybe try tier 3 if you can get that far, right? There's no downside to it now because nothing costs tokens, right? It used to be like, don't try it. Try it in a free play first. No, we don't have to think about that at all anymore. You can just dive right in because you're not losing anything except for time. Now, I do recommend, if you're going to try something incredibly difficult, or higher than maybe you're used to, or you're a little uncomfortable, and you're not sure you're going to get it, don't use potions. Don't use potions. That's the one thing you could waste, right? All right. Clearly, I've worked through and completed tier 2 of Dhadius. I just haven't attempted tier 3. I completed I completed tier 3 of the Dark Urge. I even completed this first tier 4 one. I even just first perspective on it in game of a pound. I even got into like the 1350s on this one, and then stopped and then walled out, and then I was like, really? I thought my account had. I thought I could just cruise right through these, and then I realized I hadn't geared up my Dark Urge yet. So I think I'm fine. I think after today's stream, I'll be able to knock out tier 4. That was a fun realization. So you do whatever you can, and the way it is each tier is going to have every time you do a variant, one of these variants, you're going to get a gold chest as a reward. So you can now get, instead of just 3 gold chests in an event, you can get up to 12, right? If you can go all the way. And there's more rewards along with that, and we'll talk about that. We'll highlight those once we get into an adventure. The one thing that I will say is I would love an event banner out here so that I can click on and I can show you all of the event stuff. Also, just for me as a player, there's things I would like to do on that screen, on this map screen, but maybe we will get that as quality of life update in the future. Okay, so let's talk about Dhadius and the Dark Urge. So again, once you unlock, going into these unlock adventures, I like to treat them as free plays. I've just always treated them that way. Free plays, kind of just deep runs for favor starting off, because favor still matters, especially for newer players. I just started a new player account. I'm on like day 6, day 7 of kind of casual play by only playing it on stream, and I'm up to EO9 favor in the event, so it's totally doable for a new player to get through tier 1. That's going to complete tier 1 of everything for me. I don't know how much further I'll get on that account. It doesn't have a lot of gear or a lot of champions, but I'm doing my best and I'm having fun with it. So just get yourself some favor, then dive into variants. Okay, if you have 5 EO8 or more favor, all of the variants in tier 1 will show as green, which means you're in a good, healthy place, favor-wise, to attempt them all. Okay, so let's talk about the restrictions for Dhadius' stuff. And again, that's the first thing I did, is I just went and I did favor runs over and over and over again to try to get as much favor before I attempted any of the variants. I highly recommend that. Also, I should mention this, a couple things. This is the new format. It's throwing me up. If you'll notice, Dhadius has a different adventure than the Dark Urge. This is Festival of Fools. A Fool's Errand is the adventure for Festival of Fools. But Dhadius is a Cimmeral boy. He originally arrived in Cimmeral. His adventure, he is just being pulled into Festival of Fools as part of a rework. Afterwards, when Cimmeral rolls around again, Dhadius will be there. Dhadius will be there because he's a Cimmeral boy. Okay? So know that they're not changing when they pull someone into an event now, either as a rework or for another reason. We'll see when we go in. They keep their arrival event adventure content. So there are different enemies, and thus a different Area 50 boss in the Cimmeral Spoil Sport than a Fool's Errand. And this is good for you when it comes to Festival of Fools. Area 50 boss in Festival of Fools is a frost giant. He is armored, and he hits real hard. He is a hard stop. He is a stop sign in this event. He is very difficult to get past, and he very well may limit your progress in this event. So when you're going to do favor runs, do it in Dhadius' free play. Okay, it's a 2-tank, 2-champion frontline. Not lots of adjacencies, but enough. I did this with core champions and Hitch, and it worked out. It worked out great. I got a good amount of, like I said, I'm up to EO9 favor, so it's a good pushing formation. Would not have been able to do that over here. 3-tank front lines, 3-champion front lines. They can be a little rough as a new player. You just might not have the 3 tanks yet. But also that boss makes it very difficult. So starting off, Dhadius' free play is a great place to earn your favor. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the restrictions on the variants. So the first variant is an interesting one. In areas where it is snowing, not counting boss areas, your party will take 1.7% of their max health as unavoidable damage every second. So it isn't every area, but where it is snowing, your whole party is going to be taking constant damage. Now the thing about this, I demonstrated this I think I demonstrated on GG2E this week. What you want to do is you want shielders. Calliope is good for this. This formation is a little stretched for her, but you can make it work. You can put her in either this slot in the middle or this slot in the middle, even though it's suboptimal. She can keep the whole party alive because she can shield everybody, and that damage can come out of the shield. Now, the key to that is only using one tank with health share. Only one tank that has health share that builds up a beefy amount of health. Even in a 2-tank front line. So this may take swaps like Kreidel is great. He doesn't have health. He's not a health tank. He's a dodge tank. Turiel basically Jedi mind tricks people to the other tank, so never takes damage. You can also just find 2 tanks that scale their health. This is one of the times where you might use Nayeli as a tank, but in her left-hand spec. Her left spec is helpful there. And then, somebody else in the right-hand spec, because she gets less health in her left spec. Her right spec is her tanking spec. She gets more health, and she shares it with the party. But if you go left spec, she just gives herself some health, doesn't share it with anyone, and that's great. You want to keep your overall health low in your party so that the damage comes out of the shields. All right, so there are a variety of ways, and other kinds of tanks that maybe don't have a lot of health or don't function in that way. And the other shielders, Calliope isn't the only one. Shaka got a good rework with shields, so reapplies them regularly. Ontrius. So there are multiple ways to do it, but if you're a newer player, Calliope up here can work, and put her in her right hand spec so she's popping those damage shields off all the time. So that's a good way to do this. Now, what you also want to avoid there is any kind of health potions. Health potions would raise your health and thus cause you to take more damage. You don't want that, okay? But again, if the original goal is only 75, so you don't have to go too far. Light in the Darkness is up next. Several slots in the formation are taken up by floating magical torches. 4 of them, folks. You're down 4 champions. That's a lot of power to be down. So, if you're newer, this is just going to be rough, and favor is going to help you out. So getting a lot of favor will help you push through, even on a newer count. Okay. If you have acquired some champions, Desmond is fantastic for this. Desmond buffs based off the number of escorts or dead champions in the formation. Desmond can provide a lot of power. On my account, I got an E31 buff off of Desmond because of 4 escorts and a couple dead people in the formation. So there's ways around this for just about, for people who have Desmond, that's a great option. Solok, also, if you want to run a ranged formation, Solok has buffs based off of escorts too. A little harder to do with ranged. You need a lot more, you need a more specific champions to pull that off. Especially a ranged tank if you really want to maximize the buff. But again, another option, and technically you could combine the 2 of them. Okay, so options to do this. If you're not sure, ask around. But again, as a newer player, favor. Right, favor's the big stick you beat things with in a minute. At least in tier 1. Beyond that, might need more than just favor. All right, a wise endeavor is the 3rd variant. Only champions with a wisdom score of 13 or more, plus Dhadius, may be used. So Dhadius is not that wise, but he's going to come in anyway. So this is a bit more restrictive, right? Again, the tier 1 area goal will be 175. Again, 5 EO8 or more favor. The more restricted, like the more empty slots you have, if you can't field a full team for some reason, the more favor you're going to want to get. Usually like an extra order of magnitude. That's the number after the E. So like another EO1 will help a lot of times. But again, nowadays, just try it. Just build a formation and try it. Just don't pop potions and you're not losing anything except a little time. But nowadays events last 3 weeks. You got time. Okay. All right, let's talk about the Dark Urges variants. How many die today? All of them. I'm now channeling my Dark Urge. All of them. I did a Dark Urge playthrough. Dark Urge comes from Baldur's Gate 3. And I did a Dark Urge playthrough on stream a while back. And I just went with the darkest of urges at every moment. And it was a very dark campaign. So how many die today? All of them. The first variant, Dark Urge, for all of Dark Urge's variants, they start in the formation and you can move them around. They want you to do this. They want you to use the Dark Urge for these. Only champions with the DPS role can deal damage. That's fine. Dark Urge is in. Dark Urge wants to kill everything anyway, so just let him do it. Each wave spawns an intellect devour. They don't drop gold or count towards progress. Not a problem. I call this a swarm variant. But the Dark Urge, as we'll find out in a moment, has an AoE base attack, so you're good. You're fine. This is not a problem. Time for bloody murder. Yay! It's like tea time for the Dark Urge. So once again, Dark Urge is in. You may only use champions with the DPS role. This is more restrictive. And or members of the absolute adversaries or Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliation. So they do give you some outs. There are, a couple members of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate in the core champions. And if you've been playing a little while, you may have some of the more of the absolute adversaries. So they're giving you a few more. Otherwise, DPS role only. So those DPS supports are going to be helping you out. So you may be a little more restricted here. You might be. And again, favor can help you get through that if you are. All right, Rampage or Redemption. I clearly went Rampage on my playthrough. So you may not use neutral champions unless they are members of the absolute adversaries affiliation. So, yet another pretty solid restriction. You want either, good or evil. I think that's where we're talking about here. I don't think it's reading lawful chaotic. Well, we might have to check that out. But yeah, you need neutral. You can't use the neutral. So try to go. Try to go with something that it doesn't say neutral. So you may be more restricted again. More favor. I'm gonna be. It's a broken record. Favor is gonna get you through all of tier 1 if you get enough. May even get you through most, but maybe not all of tier 2 if you get a ton. All right. The other restriction is each wave spawns an armored mind flayer. They don't drop gold nor count towards quest progress. This is a little rougher because you're going to have to hit them. I think they get 3 armor segments. You're going to have to hit them multiple times to get through. Yeah, this one's rougher. It just is. So, yet another super gamer. You're wrong. If you'd like to ask a question about why you're wrong, I will answer it in the second half of the show. All right. So that's it. We got 2 champions for the whole event for 3 weeks, right? Not quite, but we're gonna hop into a fool's errand, and we'll talk about everything else that is now going on with events. Everything else that is now going on with events. Oh, I had my Modron core enabled. Hold on, folks. Stop it. Stop it. No. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't be me. Don't be me. There we go. Okay. Whew. Got there. We got there. Okay, we want Dahdus. One champion that didn't get pulled in. We want Dahdus. This is his Red Wizard outfit. I guess this is normal Dahdus. He's been around a while. He's got a lot of outfits. And then the Dark Urge all the way to the 2 champions that weren't put in. The Dark Urge all the way down here in slot 11. Okay. So let's pause for the cause for a moment. Let me close out all these things. Okay, so you've still got the same banner up here for events, but hey, guess what? When you click on it, it's different. And there's also another banner down here, and it tells you how long you have left in the event. 18 days at this point. You can click that, open up the same place. I kind of like it. I kind of just want this one. I understand now. At first I was like, just get rid of this one. But now I'm like, well, the pennants are up there. But now I don't care because I don't need to see my pennants up here anymore. Really? I only need to see them over here in the shop when I go to buy stuff. So let's talk about that real quick. If I go to chests, I can see, hey, here's the Dark Urge, and here's Dhadius all the way down here. And I have to scroll down to get him. And right at the top, you're going to see it's a chest pack. And this is the chest pack. It's 2 silvers. It's 1 gold. It's going to be that way for every event champion you get. 7,500 tokens. And this scrolls quite a ways. So I can spend 600,000 tokens worth right now if I want. Or I can split them up between the champions. The That's how you spend your tokens now. That's how you get gear for your champions beyond those gold chests. Okay. Now there is one other thing to note here. It doesn't come in on the 3 gold packs, but it comes in on the blue, like the green, but it comes in on the blue and above. You can now get something called an event boon, which we'll talk about if you make event DLC purchases. And event DLC purchases also come with penance. So more tokens. You don't have to spend them on the Dark Urge. Like you may be like, well, this is my Dark Urge chest, and I'm going to spend these on a different champion, right? This now comes in on all of the stages above, but it starts at the blue. See, it says event bonuses. There's also event-related DLC, like event-themed DLC, like here's the Dhadius pack. There was a Dark Urge pack. I bought it because of the familiar, which I will highlight in a moment. But these event themed DLC are also gonna have an event boon and penance as well. So more ways to kind of that they're kind of relating some of the DLC to events. They give you a boon. Those boons are over here. So you can see on the right hand side there's event boons. They're basically potion buffs. It gives you a full stack, one of each of the common potions, basically. And as you get higher levels of boons, the buffs get bigger. One thing, there's a downside to this. I'm going to call it out right now. The health isn't something you always want. That health boon is going to, be a little rough for Dhadius's take permanent health damage variant. And the fire breath potions aren't going to help you when you're trying to murder stack on Dark Urge. We addressed this on Dev Insights this week, and they stated it was something they couldn't get in time for the start of this event, but these buffs are going to be toggleable. So you'll be able to toggle these event boons on and off if you if you don't want the health one, or you just don't want the fire breath. You singularly you can toggle off the ones you want. Yeah. I don't know that's going to apply to the left-hand side. We'll have to clarify that. But for the event boons, we have confirmation. Those are going to get a toggle soon. I don't know. But that's the plan. That was always the plan. It just they packed a lot of stuff into this and didn't have time to get it there. So this is what event boons look like, and you can have up to 4 of them. There's 4 tiers of event boons, and it's just that would be 4 purchases out of the store. It would get you 1 boon each. Okay. All right, so let's go talk about go look about the rest of this stuff. So there's a lot going on here now. Like there's slots that are available or locked. There's stuff over here. Like, look, I purchased this one, this pack. Here's the other pack. There's an event offer, and it's kicking down. It's counting down on a timer. This one I'm going to call out isn't actually shown in the shop. I don't know why. This is the only place you can find it. Doesn't matter that it takes me to the shop when I click on it. So there's going to be a kind of unique event offers that last like for 24 hours. They've got a boon and penance, but they're kind of a event DLC and they're a little cheaper. But they're going to be in this, and they're only going to show here. And then this is just the chests. So there's a couple. They're basically giving you a couple different ways you can get like golden epics for champions during an event for these featured champions. But one of them only shows in here. You'd think they'd want to advertise things they're selling in the shop, but they do it here for this one instead. Your event boons get tracked up here. Your penance, your favor. So you have the timer. Everything is here. There's a FAQ with some very good explanations to things if you want to read through that. But let's head over to the part over here that's like, what? Because this is way different than it used to be. Each champion is going to have their own little slot here. So the Dark Urge and Dhadius. And there's 4 extra slots. When the event went live, this available slot was unlocked. What do you use this for? This is a flex slot. I can choose any champion from this list to flex into that slot and work on them during this event. This is all 6 past years of Festival of Fools. So it started with Strix, up to Myria, Dark Urge being the 7th. And then Regis and Cthulhu are in because, again, when they went from 17 events in a year to 12, they have to shuffle and resort and put some people into Festival of Fools that weren't there anymore. There will be 2 to 3 extra champions in every event on this list that weren't in there before. So Regis and Cthulhu are here, and they're from a completely different event. You can come in here. It says year 1 champion. It doesn't say. I wish it would tell you which event it came from. I don't see that anywhere in here. But that would be useful information. That's a quality of life update. Hopefully they can get in. But you pick whoever you want, and they'll show you how many tiers you've completed on them. This white star means, I've completed tier 1. If it were empty, you wouldn't have any. So I have 9 chests left. It would show 12 if you'd never unlocked the champion before. And then there's this buff thing, and we kind of saw this out on the other side. Every time you complete a tier, you get a buff. So the first tier is the one at the top, second tier, third tier, fourth tier. So more and bigger buffs as you complete different tiers. These buffs will last for 60 days. Yeah. It's a long time. So, whatever champion you're picking, they're going to get this buff, and you're going to get this buff, because that top one here is Damage All Champions, for 60 days. So every event, you're going to start stacking buffs for these champions. They're going to be better during the event and during that 60 days than they normally would have been. Now you'll note these stop at just 2 things, and if this for all of these flex champions right now, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to have these 2 rewards. You get chests and you get buffs. Now, for the featured champions, you'll note there was a 3rd section. So, for featured champions, they are adding even like another reward to tier 3 and to tier 4. So, there is an unlockable feat in tier 3 for featured champions. Each champion has a feat of their own. I already got the one for the Dark Arts. That's why it's not showing up. And then for tier 4, there's some kind of consumable. For Dhadius, it's a level 3 legendary potion. You can use it on anyone. Don't have to use it on Dhadius. You can use it on anyone. So, for the Dark Urge, again, feat, I already got mine. And for the Dark Urge, they get a DPS pigment. Again, you don't have to use it on the Dark Urge. You can use it on any DPS champion. But he would like to murder people, so, help him out. Help him out. So, these are extra rewards at tier 3 and tier 4. Tier 3 and tier 4. And again, they're one-time earning. Now, if you come in and you pick, say, Rosie Beestinger, she's pretty popular. I'm being facetious. Let's say you pick Rosie Beestinger, and then they rework Rosie, and they feature her in an upcoming event. And they add 2 bonus things, and you completed all 4 tiers already. Do you get those automatically? We don't know yet. I asked, and they don't know. I asked, and Sean and Mars didn't know. Presumably, because if you already... presumably, yes, because if you already did all of the variants, you should just get the rewards when she gets reworked. Presumably, yes. So, because once you complete these tiers, as you work up through these tiers, that's permanent progress. You do all 4 tiers, you're done. You're done, right? So just know, they're not going to lock you out of rewards. They're not. You're going to get these rewards, and when they add the 2 extras at some point, if they rework a champion in the future, like Rosie Beestinger, you'll have those available. Okay. All right. So yeah, as the stars fill up with tier 1, it's going to be white. You finish tier 2. Hey, green, blue, and then all 4 will be purple. You can click to view the map. It'll take you out here. They're trying to make it easy for you to get places. You can open up, you can look at your progress just like you did before, and they'll show the stuff that you get and the rewards in the tiers. Very good visual system. You can get your average item level. You can see your gear. They got a little bit of champion details with the abilities over here. Not bad. And they can see kind of your achievement progress. I've got 4 of the 5 achievements done. They changed this numbered achievement in Events 2.0. Now it's just 250, and they made it better than ever before because it's 250 in any Dhadius adventure, variant, free play, or time gate. Fantastic. Before it used to say in any Simroll free play, and it only worked in the event. Well, they got to change it because some events aren't going to be around anymore. But in changing it, they made it friendlier for everyone to do. Dhadius has a new achievement. Complete 100 areas while Dhadius is buffing everyone in the formation with skill empowerment. They did one nerf to Dhadius. I'm going to call it out right now. He used to be able to buff across gaps, and now he can't. So you can't get his achievement in his formation anymore. Womp, womp. Do it in Sword Coast. Dark Urge. Theirs is gain 1,000 murder stacks while having all 6 of Living on the Edges outcast stacks in a full formation. We'll talk about this in a bit. I have not geared up the Dark Urge, but so I will get that shortly. Yeah. Okay, so again, flex slot. You get 1 open when the event starts. These 2 unlock on a timer, so next Wednesday, and then the Wednesday after that. These are not free, though, and I wish they would add something out here to tell you. These take 3 time gate pieces. This is why they forgot to tell us this beforehand. They gave us 6 time gate pieces as an apology. Save them, because you're going to need 3 for next week's flex slot, and you're going to need 3 for the week after that. Okay? So you want to do this? It's basically like a discount time gate that's better than ever, because you can get more gold chests. Even if you only do tier 1, it's like a time gate, but if you can go beyond that, it's better. Plus, tier 1 would still just get you this buff for 60 days. Yeah. The timer does start, the 60-day timer does start from the event start. If you hover over here, you can see it's ticking down on the left over there. Time remaining 57 days, 2 hours. But if you unlock these things on day 1, they're going to last 57 days from the start of the, or 60 days from the start of the event. All right, this final slot, it shows available to me. Why is that? It would normally be locked, and it's normally locked because you have to purchase an event-related DLC to unlock it. I could not resist. I was going to try to wait until today to show you and unlock it live on screen, but I needed this familiar so bad. So it's the same pool of champions, folks. But it's free because this is called a supporter slot. You buy any of the DLC and you get it. So here's this $9.99 offer, right? Like you could buy this or, or in a more expensive one, but that's basically going to unlock another champion for you to be able to work on during the event. I gotta go out and show off this familiar. This is, it's in a background party recall. It's Gale's hand, folks. Everybody give a hand to Gale. Yay. Gale is not yet in the game, but he sort of is now. We got his hand, everybody. Anybody that's played Baldur's Gate 3 knows Gale needs a little bit of help getting into a video game, and so you gotta give him a hand. So this is Gale. Literally, folks, this is Gale's hand. Gale's hand. A hand? Anyone? I love it. I love it so much. I'm not saying that's in the game because of me, but I did highly encourage it. And it makes me so happy. All right. So, I'm not going to spoil that joke, Maelstrom. I can't. It's just too good. I don't want to do spoilers. All right, let's talk about the champions, folks. We're going to talk about the Dhadius rework, and we're going to talk about the Dark Urge today. If you have specific questions about some of the Flex champions, you can ask with question : in chat. Remember, your questions only get put into this document I'm looking at over here that's got 9 questions so far. Gabe's grabbing those if you put question : in front. Otherwise, we all just assume you're asking chat. But next week, spoilers, next week we're going to do Gaarawarr's Guide to the Tutorial Show, and we're going to talk about Festival Fools Flex Champions. We'll go deeper into all of them next week. All right, Here we go. That's just kind of the way this has to work because I can't fit them all into one stream. All right, Dhadius got reworked. A lot of his base stuff is the same. So male human wizard, chaotic neutral, DPS support. None of this stuff changed. His base attack, chromatic orb, but he tosses a chromatic orb with a random element at the nearest enemy, and that's acid, frost, and fire, if I remember correctly. This comes in, it's important later. So those kinds of things didn't change. Now, one of his items changed. A couple of names of his items changed, but this used to be like a Dhadius self-damage item. Now it supports one of his specializations. So there were little changes to the itemization and the feats to adjust to some of the new abilities. But the basic part of Dhadius is still the same. And just TLDR, Dhadius got way better. Similar feel, just way more power. Okay. Skill empowerment increases Dhadius' damage and the damage of champions with 14 or more intelligence who are within 2 slots of Dhadius by an amount for each champion in the formation affected by this ability, stacking multiplicatively. It is 100%. That doesn't change now. So 100%, and it stacks multiplicatively. Dhadius didn't used to have anything that stacked multiplicatively. In fact, I believe it might have just been, when he did have things that stacked, it was additive. So he got stronger, because multiplicatively, that's the good way. Basically, the more high-int people that Dhadius is within 2 slots of, 2 adjacent slots of now, not 2 as the crow flies like it used to be, multiplicatively stacking buff. Okay. Now, this is not a mathematically overpowered ability because the item support that it has, because it does have an item over here, and the feats that it has, these are all post-stack multipliers. Okay. Practice makes perfect. Enemies hit by a chromatic orb are debuffed. Now, that wasn't a thing before. Based on the orb's type, acid, frost, or fire, each debuff increases the damage of subsequent orbs of the same type by an amount, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Enemies can have up to 5 debuffs of each type, and those debuffs do not expire. So once they're applied, they're there, whether, you don't have to worry about them falling off as you continue to attack on the screen. Now this, I did say by a number because this is a mathematically overpowered ability. Practice makes perfect. Mops. It's got item support and feat support, and they both boost the pre-stack value. Now the caps are 5 stacks for each of those types, but they now have a multiplicatively stacking debuff with pre-stack item and feat support. We've seen champions like this before, and they've been at different times some of the strongest champions of the game. Crawl freely. The downside to some of this is it's kind of invisible power, because debuffs stack on an enemy and you can't see what the values are. You don't always know exactly what a big deal this is. But remember, when they're stacking multiplicatively, that means it's taking this, for me, 4858, multiplying by against 4858 up to 5 times. And then there's a whole other stack of that. It's a different debuff. The one thing we don't know that they haven't told us is it says it's debuff based on the orb types. Acid, frost, or fire. They don't tell us any of that in game or in the champion spotlight. It's on a list of my questions to be asked because we need to find that out, right? But debuffs, 3 different types of debuffs, apparently, each of them multiplicatively stacking. This is one of Dhadius' new strengths. That's one mathematically overpowered ability for Dhadius. Next ability up is Chromatic Wonder. Dhadius keeps track of the total number of sets of all 3 orb types he has cast in the current area. So, acid, frost, fire, 1 set. Acid, 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 frost, frost, fire, 2 sets with credit for some others. Fire, that's 3 sets, right? That's what it's looking at. And it tracks it over here for you. You'll see. So we've got this, and it's tracking the stacks, okay? And the sets. Dhadius increases the effective skill empowerment by an amount for each set, stacking multiplicatively and capping at 20 sets. Now, this one changes the value here, but this is there's a bug in this because It's post stack. It's not supposed to change it up here. It just changes it down here. So don't get too excited. But you can have up to 20 sets that stack multiplicatively. That's the good way. For me, this comes out with my item support. This comes out to almost an EO9 bonus towards skill empowerment. Okay. So again, another multiplicatively stacking ability. Now we come to the specializations. We have Together in Magic. Dhadius actually gets, Dhadius is like first specialization. I had first specialization, but what about second specialization? He's going to get 2. Okay, but the first one is either together or apart in Magic. Now these are the ones, this is the kind of easy decision. You're choosing the higher number. So the effective skill empowerment is increased by an amount for each champion in the formation that either has a magic base attack or doesn't, and it stacks multiplicatively. This is another multiplicatively stacking ability. It's the specialization. Okay. Now, this means you're going to want either lots of magic base attackers in your formation with Dhadius, or none, right? Just him and no more, right? So the max stacks you can get in Together in Magic, 10 in a 10 champion formation. In a 10 champion formation for Part in Magic, 9, okay? But wait, there's more. Together in Magic and Apart in Magic have item support and feat support. It's pre-stack multipliers. That's right, folks. Double mop. What does it mean? Dhadius has 2 mathematically overpowered abilities. Not 1, like every other champion in the game before this that had 1. Not 1, 2. So what does that mean for you? It means they were already a champion. If you have 1 mathematically overpowered ability, that's already a champion you would want to invest item levels into. Because those item levels aren't going to get diminishing returns like other champions do because they're multiplicatively stacking. Now, that investment is a 2-for-1. You get to invest in 2 mathematically overpowered abilities every time you start investing blacksmithing contracts and raising item levels. Because you're raising average item levels. You can't just target a single item. And those average item levels, usually they're kind of wasted on all the other items. But they're not on Dhadius because you're raising 2 at the same time. Much more efficient for itemization with 2 mathematically overpowered abilities. Just going to pick one of these so we can move forward and look at second specialization. Now, 2 of these are returned from his old kit, Empowered Orbs and Empowered Empowerment. Empowered Orbs is just going to boost the damage of his basic attacks by 400%. But it's also going to make them an area attack. So this gives Dhadius more damage and wave clear. Empowered Empowerment just buffs skill empowerment triple. So this is his DPS spec. And this is his support spec. That's a good way to look at it, right? Then we get use smaller words. And I love that they called it this. Because it reduces the required intelligence of skill empowerment to 12 and higher. So this is the party's going, hey Dhadius, would you use smaller words? So you can actually lower that 14 int requirement down to 12. So this is the kind of the wild card, because it's basically saying, well, can we get more stacks for skill empowerment? And if you can, it's going to be a bigger boost than these potentially. Now, if he's DPS, he'll lose the AoE, but he'll gain more damage. And if he's support, it's just a win for more stacks. So you're going to have to check how many, if this ups the number of stacks you can get, if you're going to choose this. I'm just going to go ahead and it's the duel of DPS. We're going to set each of them in a DPS spec. Well, that's all Dark Urge has, but okay. All right, the ultimate ability now. Did they hide anything else beyond here? No. Okay, ultimate ability is Magic Missile Barrage. And this is the, like magic, anybody with Magic Missile in this game, like usually as they level up, they'll get extra Magic Missiles. Dhadius is the OP person because Dhadius summons a storm of Magic Missiles. 1 for every enemy, plus a few extra for good measure. So this is the most magic missiles you can have on the screen at one time. Because if you let 100 enemies stack up on the screen, Dhadius will launch a barrage of 110 magic missiles. Which is, I mean, that might just crash some computers. But it's fun to watch. Fun to watch. So it's 10. The few extra is 10. So it's 10 plus every enemy on the screen, but they hit randomly. It's not just like they don't just all go to like separate targets. It's just going to be random targets. The game is going to decide. Game is going to decide for you. So again, item support. This is a mathematically overpowered ability. So I'm glad it's gilded. This is Together in Apart Magic. Then we got Damage All Champions, Skill Empowerment, Practice Makes Perfect, Chromatic Wonder, and Ultimate Attack. This is the other mathematically overpowered ability. This is the debuff. So I'm going to need to get a golden on that. I'm going to just need to raise my average item levels up now that he's a mop. Beat-wise, Damage of All Champions, Self-Damage. Then you get Skill Empowerment, Practice Makes Perfect. Now, these are interesting values, 50 and 100%. I've got those in there because that's the debuff. So why wouldn't I want to buff the debuff even more? Then Together in Apart in Magic, and that's going to be the other one. I'm going to want that, and I'm going to want the higher one. Now, he's got a 40 and an 80. That's his Tier 3 reward. So completing Tier 3 gets you an 80% feat for a mathematically overpowered ability. This is a big deal. These are must-haves, these two down here. But you also get, Skill Empowerment, Chromatic Wonder, But if you've got a lot of stacks, if you can build those stacks, you want those other feats. Okay. Let's talk about the Dark Urge now. This is the newest champion to arrive in the game. The Dark Urge comes from Baldur's Gate 3, one of the origin characters, and a unique origin character. They have an entirely different story kind of path, and they're the only origin character that you can customize their race and class. But this is the default. So male Dragonborn Sorcerer, Chaotic Evil, DPS, pure DPS. Remember, joins the Absolute Adversaries, which is an almost complete formation. We still need Gale. Base attack is Murderous Slash, and I know you're like, but they're a sorcerer. Look, just play the story. It'll make sense. The Dark Urge strikes nearby enemies with a slash of his dagger. So there is a bit of an AoE here because it says nearby enemies. They have a passive, and it's OP. The Dark Inheritance. The Dark Urge is eligible to start in all adventures. All adventures, even if the patron variant or other restrictions would say otherwise. Now, it does say start in them. He also does not interact with any champion abilities or variant effects that are based on age, because the age is unknown. So for the first time, this just won't trigger off anything that has to do with age. Okay? But the Dark Urge now joins Dungeon Master in being able to be used in any adventure and variant in the game. They can go everywhere. The difference is Dark Urge is a DPS. You will always have a DPS no matter what now. Okay? First ability up, the Urge. Well, fitting. Each time the Dark Urge defeats an enemy, he gains a murder stack. The Dark Urge increases damage by 0.1% for each murder stack he has. Stacks persist between adventures. There is a cap to this. I think it's like 4 EO9. But permanently stacking ability. This Zorbu and the Dark Urge. They would get along. They like to do the same thing. Let's go kill a bunch of people. Zorbu likes to kill specific people. Dark Urge, equal opportunity murderer. Everybody's on the table. So you're going to want to farm murder stacks if you're going to want to do, play with the Dark Urge. Usually we're like, hey, get into the EO5, EO6 range. But honestly, because it's just straight up for everything, like, kill a lot of stuff. This is where that Fire Breath potion in the Boons is a bad thing, because if you've got familiars out on the field, the Dark Urge can't get any kill stacks. So this is why that needs a toggle, folks. This is why that needs a toggle. All right, just so straight up stacks, the Urge just wants to kill things. Ceramorphosis, we've seen this before in other Absolute Adversaries. The formation gains 1 Ceramorphosis stack due to the Mind Flayer Tadpole in the Dark Urge's brain. The Dark Urge increases his damage by 100% for each Ceramorphosis stack, stacking multiplicatively. And as you saw, that it said 140. Item support, feat support, mathematically overpowered. Every absolute adversary has Ceramorphosis as an ability. Every single one mathematically overpowered. They're multiplicatively stacking. Oh, except for Karlach. Multiplicatively stacking with a pre-stack modifier. Karlach has... She gets this, but it's in a different way. Karlach's special. Karlach's special. But yeah, so the more tadpoles in the party, the more damage Dark Urge does. It's just straight up. It isn't worried about... It doesn't care about other people. Give me lots of tadpoles. I will kill everything. That's the Dark Urge. Okay, so there's your mathematically overpowered ability. So investing item level is going to be a big deal in the Dark Urge. Living on the edge. The Dark Urge has 6 Outcast stacks, which doesn't fit with Outcast didn't sing Living on the Edge. The Dark Urge has 6 Outcast stacks. -1 stack for each adjacent champion that does not have the DPS role. So this means you want to put them like on the edge of a formation, like out honestly this formation, this would be best. And then you want to just put somebody who has probably DPS support next to them, right? So that they can keep all their Outcast stacks. So the Dark Urge increases his damage, once again, this is what he likes to do, by 100% for each Outcast stack, stacking multiplicatively. And I know you want to know. Item and feat support? Oh yeah. So, this mops. This is double mop. Not one, but both featured champions in this event. Double mop. Double mop. We didn't what? See any what? Now again, this is limited to 6 stacks, so you know they are controlling the power here, and this one is 10, but still, double mop? Super, so incredibly efficient investments. Again, if you're dumping lots of item levels into the Dark Urge or Dhadius, they're more efficient than they would be into champions that don't have any mops. And depending on now every mop scales differently. Some scale better with these item levels than others, but double mop? Wow. Okay. Spec choices. Storm Sorcery, Draconic Bloodline, or Divine Soul. For Storm Sorcery, the Dark Urge's murderous slash attack is empowered by lightning. This increases the range, because remember it's an AoE. Increases the range by 200%, so triple size, and deals up to 800% more damage to enemies based on how close they are. Super close, 800%. Further away, less damage. Okay, so this is just straight up damage boost with a bigger AoE radius. Okay, Draconic Bloodline. The Dark Urge's damage is increased by 200% for each Dragonborn champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. You get 2 of these? And you're looking at the same kind of damage as you'd get over here, but without the bigger AoE radius. 3, way more damage. Way more damage. So 3 or better down here on Draconic Bloodline, and it beats the DPS you're going to get over here. You don't get a bigger AoE, but you know, but more damage. Okay. Divine Soul is your murder stack. This is your murder stacking spec. The Dark Urge increases the number of the Urge's murder stacks he gains each time he defeats an enemy by 200%. So triple credit. So you want to stack it up, you go Divine Soul. Okay. Until you get all the stacks you need. Second specialization. Because first specialization isn't enough. You need second specialization. Embrace the Urge or resist it. This is some spoilers into Baldur's Gate 3, but yeah, oh well. Embrace the Urge. The Dark Urge succumbs to his murderous impulses, delighting evil champions and unlocking an ultimate transformation. So the Dark Urge unlocks the form of the Slayer ultimate and deals 100% more damage for each evil champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So unlocks the ultimate, changes their form. It's super cool. We're gonna show this off. And it's murdery. Evil champions, let's go. Let's go. So this is another spec choice where you're going to pick the bigger number. Truly. There is some different functionality with Resist the Urge, but really you want the bigger number for that multiplicatively stacking damage. So, Resist the Urge. The Dark Urge suppresses his violent instincts, winning the approval of good champions and gaining assistance from an unusual ally. This is a unique specialization for a couple reasons. The first up is it changes their alignment to lawful good. If you choose Resist the Urge on this run, you are now a lawful good champion. And that changes the interactions you're going to get with any other champions. Okay. He unlocks the Wither's Resurrection ultimate, which is a different ultimate, which we'll talk about because we're going to look at both of these, and deals 100% more damage for each good champion in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So the damage bonus is there either way. You're just getting different functional ultimates. Okay. So let's talk about the ultimates. So if I lean into the urge, if I embrace it, if I embrace my darker self, I unlock the form of the Slayer. The Dark Urge transforms into the Slayer form for 15 seconds, dealing massive damage for the duration. Scelerida's Fell, the Dark Urge's butler, I love it. I wanted him in this game, and they made it happen. Takes his place in the formation for the duration, because what happens is the Dark Urge goes rawr, jumps out into the middle of the enemy space. Scelerida's Fell, the butler, takes up his spot in the formation and won't take damage, while the Dark Urge just destroys everything. Okay, here we go. Boom. Scelerida's Fell, the butler. So freaking great. I love him so much. I was like, you gotta get the butler in the game. They did it. They did it. That's it. So he jumps out here and just attacks everything. Just jumps out and attacks any enemies he can get in that form for 15 seconds. And then you go on cooldown. Okay. That's the Embrace ultimate. Let's take a look. Little tip and trick here. Boom, boom. And it resets the ultimate. And it resets the ultimate. Wither's Resurrection. Withers appears, pushing back all monsters. Withers will appear back here. If you don't know who Withers is, kind of a big deal in Baldur's Gate 3. Pushing back all monsters. So screen-wide shove all the way back. Resurrects all heroes. Anyone that died comes back to life. Makes them all immune to damage for 15 seconds. And if you don't have it on cooldown, if you don't have this ultimate on cooldown, this ultimate will trigger when the Dark Urge gets knocked out. So the way you want to do this is just not use it. What you want to do is let the enemies steamroll your formation. And the second they knock the Dark Urge out, Withers is like, nope. He just pops up in the back of the formation, shoves everyone off all the way to the right-hand side of the screen, brings all the champions back to life, makes them immune to damage for 15 seconds, and is like, all right, you get one more shot at this. Let's go. It's great. I used it yesterday on my new player account to get past a boss, and it was exactly what I needed. It brought me back, gave me the life I needed, and I was able to kill the boss. Like, it is super cool. It's super cool. But you don't I highly recommend just not like auto triggering it. Just let them wipe out your formation. Once they get to the Dark Urge, it's going to trigger automatically, and away you go. Here's what it would look like if you hit it. Withers comes out back here. That's what would have been the shove back. He would have brought everybody to life. They'd glow because they're not able to take damage, and he hangs out until they take damage again, and then he's gone. Okay, so that's the way that works. That's the way that works. All right. Boom. Now this is actually dead champions, folks. Actually dead champions. So people who have been rolled through and killed. So that was Divine Soul. Yeah, that's what we chose. We chose Resist the Urge. He doesn't have anything else, right? Nope. He just murders things. We'll talk about itemization here in a second because we're going to gear him up live. We get a damage all champions. Imagine that. This is the tier 3 reward. You want it because it increases the damage of the Dark Urge by 400%. but also prevents roaming familiars from automatically activating the Dark Urge's ultimate attack. That's fantastic. This is something they've been adding to the game via feats. So this is a cool feat, especially if you're in the resist the urge, and you don't want to set off Wither's ultimate all the time, right? Then we get urge feats. There's a couple of them. I haven't unlocked them all yet. Ceramorphosis. Those are great because remember, these apply pre-stack. Living on the Edge. These are great too. I got the 80% because that applies pre-stack as well. Yeah. So they don't get too fancy. Just this one. This is the fancy one, and it's unlockable through the tier system. Okay, so I guess I could turn progress on for them. So gearing up your champions, no matter how many you unlock. Let's say you unlock your flex slot and you pick all three and you unlock all three champions: Dhadius, Dark Urge, Briv. Right? Dhadius, Dark Urge, Briv. That's what my new player account looks like. The first thing you then want to do with all of these champions that have no gear, the first chests you want to open. Electrums. The order of opening chests efficiently in events is Electrums first, then named Silvers. And the goal with those two first, specifically Electrums first and then named Silvers, is you're trying to get to green or better gear on these new champions. So now that there's these kind of new champions unlocked every week, like a new slot each week, when the event starts, you're going to have you choose all your three, you get the two featured, you choose your third flex, your first flex. So the third champion, you unlock them all. They potentially have no gear. Pop every Electrum you have. Try to get them to green or better. Then start saving Electrums up until your next flex slot and your next champion opens the next week. Once you get them and they're gearless, pop all the Electrums you saved up and then start saving again for that final flex slot in the third week. Do it again. And the goal is to try to get green or better before you ever open a gold chest. The reason being, gold chests guarantee you an upgrade to either green or blue. And because Electrums and Silvers can drop whites and greens fairly commonly, occasionally blue, whites and greens fairly commonly, you want to use those to get yourself to green so that more valuable gold chest guarantees you a blue, so it only takes you 6 chests to get blue or better gear during an event on a champion. 6 gold chests. That's what we're talking about. Now, if you have enough Electrums, you can get all the way to blue just from Electrums, but this is going to drop gear for the Dark Urge immediately. I got streamer luck. I got a blue. I really wanted greens. Whites or greens. There's a green. I'm gonna get 6, at least 6 in a row. There's a white. Before I hit like a dupe that is like a true dupe, it's just gonna keep doing this, right? Because this is how it works. This is how Electrums work. Okay. Boom. Did that do it? No, I got a white and a green upgrade, but that's fine. Boom. Green again. And I'm just gonna there it is. There's the achievement. There, and now I'm into duplicates. Now I'm into the duplicate phase. So now if I go out and I look, I've got greens or better with a blue. Perfect. Didn't even take me that many Electrums. That was lucky. That was very lucky. Usually it would take more. But I'm into greens or blues, and now I don't even need to open the silvers, technically, for Dark Urge right now. I probably would normally. But at this point, I could start opening golds if I'm just trying to get them into gear quickly. Like to blue real fast, I could start opening golds. And that gold is going to guarantee me a blue. There could be multiple items here. One is guaranteed to be a blue. I ended up with 2. Streamer luck. Okay, so there we go. Now, as I'm gearing this up, it's going to take, again, 6 or fewer chests. There's another one. There's another one. And there's the epic, because I ran my pity timer. Pity timers are still a thing for chests. The first time you encounter a gold chest, the pity timer is going to be 4. That was the 4th chest I opened. If you don't get a gold or get an epic before the pity timer runs out, you guaranteed to get one. So I just got mine on my 4th chest. Now my pity timer is going to be set to 10. I got my other blue, and I got an epic. Again, streamer luck. Now I am in 5 blue, 1 purple. And that is kind of, in the past, that was the worst you could get if you did this efficiently. 5 blue, 1 purple. Now, beyond this, it's just RNG about whether you can get more purples or not. And the numbers of chests that you open. Obviously, I'm going to be using all of my tokens. All these tokens are going to the Dark Urge. Well, at least 500,000 of these tokens are going to the Dark Urge. At least 500,000. And I'm going to gear the Dark Urge up with, and I'm going to pop all the rest of these Electrums. Normally, I would just pop all the Electrums immediately, but I wanted to demonstrate how things work going up efficiently. So yeah, and I'm going to get them, and then I'm going to get them geared that way. Because now I just have to go over here to the shop with my tokens, go to chests, go to Dark Urge, and then slide this slider and buy myself some chests with tokens. Okay, one other thing that I forgot to mention, and it is related to the chests over here. Because Dhadius got a rework, Dhadius gets a full dismantle. I'll show you when we go back out. So if you don't like the Dhadius rework, you can pull everything off of Dhadius except for the rarity of his items and put it somewhere else. But that dismantle either lasts the duration of the event or until you buy a chest from Dhadius. Purchasing will disable the dismantle for Dhadius. Because if you buy a chest with tokens, you can buy with cash, but if you buy a chest with tokens, they basically consider you accepting the rework. Okay, here's the full dismantle button. This is everything I would get back if I were to dismantle Dhadius. Okay. You can only do it once. I'm not going to do that, though. I think this rework only made him better. There's no reason for me to dismantle him. But you make your own decisions. Okay. We have now just over a dozen. We have 13, a baker's dozen of questions in the document. We're going to get to those right after the break. The song on this break, in honor of the Frost Giant that kicks everyone's butt on Area 50 the first time. This is Lords of the Ice.
Stories told, stomping through the snow everywhere we go. Rivers of the storm, we will not conform. The winds they call us forth in the frozen north. Hear our horns begin to blow, sending through the snow. As we leave nothing left but bones for crows. Heralds of the squall, watch your heroes fall. You will know our power, one and all. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost giants of frost. Marching through the street, our boots will crunch the meat, grind you into meat underneath our feet. Shivering awake as the ground begins to shake. The breaking of your hope will seal your fate. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, fate of the lost giants of frost. We'll make ourselves a stew. The main ingredient is you.
So good, so good. That's from Bardic Inspiration, everybody. Jason Charles Miller. So we're going to dive into the questions. We got about 14 here. Some are off topic, but we'll get into that. First, there's some drama in chat, and I just want to address it just a little bit. This game is not pay to win. First off, you can't have a pay to win game that isn't a PvP game by definition. I know people like to throw that term out, but that's not a thing. This is a PvE game. You're not competing with anybody. What it is pay to progress faster. There is not anything in this game, any content like even these tier systems, that you can't complete with time. With time and effort spent in the game. This has been proven time and time again by players in the community. There are people that challenge themselves to play this game gearlessly. So they don't open any chests to get any gear. That is the strongest indicator that you can complete this game without putting any cash in it. This is an incredibly free-to-play friendly game. They finished some of the highest end content in the game without any gear whatsoever. So, pay to progress faster means if you decide to invest cash in the game, you're going to be able to complete stuff faster than you might normally, or maybe a little easier, but it doesn't mean you can't do it if you don't spend money. That's not true with all games, but after 6.5 years here playing this game, very, very true. Very, very true. If you don't want to believe that, I guess that's on you. But again, many people have played this game free to play. I would talk to someone who has pushed into the deepest depths of the gearless dungeons in this game is Lediath. I'm calling you out. They finished Coasting to the Finish, which is a ridiculously high area goal on a free-to-play account. I think they were doing the patron version just this past week. And frankly, that means you can if you can do that, you can pretty much do anything given enough time. So, yeah. Shout out to Lediath for that accomplishment. Let's dive into the questions, though, that were on topic. Lightspeed asks, I'm struggling with Briv's third variant, a delicious diversion, in Tier 3. Okay. Well, I can't really look at it. Because I haven't unlocked Briv. But hold on. One thing I did is I made a guide to the event. You can find it on the subreddit. In fact, you can find it right here. And that gives links to all of the champions and also to kind of information on their variants. So I'm going to open up my own guide on Briv. I'm going to see what that Tier 3 looks like. Or what, well, not what the Tier 3 looks like, but what the variant they're having a problem with looks like. So, Delicious Diversion. Okay. A cart of tasty pies, baguettes, and other baked snacks takes up 2 slots in the formation. The cart has 100 hit points, which that doesn't matter. Ravenous crows and famished rats spawn randomly in each area. These additional creatures have armored health. Okay, so we've got to remove armor. If for whatever reason the cart is smashed, you immediately lose the area and go back to the previous area. Well, but I mean, if the cart is smashed, your champions died. So here's the keys to doing anything with armor, and that's what we're talking about now. You need champions that are either multi-attack, as like you need a DPS that is multi-attack, and or champions that give extra credit when removing armor segments, and or champions that reduce the threshold to remove armor, and or champions that do bud-based damage on attacks. Because if you have high enough bud, those will tick off segments of armor as well. So there's a lot of different things you could possibly want here, but to start, you're going to want like a multi-attack champion because you don't want someone that just hits once and removes one chunk. You want something like Ashara has, will spray out magic missiles. Each of those can remove a chunk of armor if your damage is high enough, right? So there's a combination here of you need tools to help you remove lots of armor segments quickly, and you need a lot of damage. And this is hard when you're losing 2 champion slots in your formation. Whenever you're losing 2 slots in a formation, a big champion that can help you is Desmond. We talked about this. Another Solok. If you're going with more of a ranged situation. These are 2 champions that give you buffs based off enemies missing. And then if you combine like Desmond with dead champions like Blushi when she finally goes into spirit form, Spurt with his ultimate active, Voronika, Astarion. These are champions that count as dead in your formation and can buff Desmond as well. Yeah, combining that with escort slots gives you big buffs. For Solok, it's just getting lots of ranged attackers in with escorts. These are tools, but then you like extra credit on chunks. Esmeralda will give you extra credits on chunkage like everywhere. I think Celise now has that. Human only does it against bosses, so Human's not going to help. Gosrick reduces the damage threshold. You need to remove a chunk of armor. There's a lot of combinations. Now, but whether you can get through tier 3 with that, like the tiers are basically power progression check systems, right? And it may be this time around you can't do it. But those are some options for you. So you want to look for those types of things and find the best combination of them to get you through it. I really like this kind of tiered thing system where you're doing the same variants. It's the patron system, folks. If you didn't realize, it's an easier version of the patron system. Oh, what's that? The same variant, but with higher area goals? They just don't have the higher restrictions like patrons do, right? So once again, they're mimicking the regular game with events. They always did, except they never mimicked the patron system. Now they do. So I like it because it gives you a good idea of how far am I progressing? And then the next time you encounter that champion in an event, you may have grown a lot and you may just smoke that stuff and it's going to feel real good because you'll finally get past the thing that stopped you before. Kerns. Kerns is this is not spelled the same way, but the second I see the way I read that Kerns, I'm thinking of like Kerns nectar, like it's in the store and their mango nectar is so good and now I want some. But they don't sell it here, I don't think. Kerns asks, don't the event boons seem a bit outsized, both in monetary cost and effect? It seems more pay to win than past seasonal offerings. Well, once again, there is no pay to win in this game because this isn't a competitive game. Pay to progress faster. It's going to let you offer. Basically, what they're doing is like, hey, they're giving you an extra bonus. Before, these packs were always available before. Those chest packs were always available to be bought. There's always kind of skin packs that get released. For people that are supporting the game financially, they're now just giving you an extra incentive. It's like, hey, you supported us. Great, here's some extra bonuses. It's a lot, again, under the current system where you can't toggle these off. It's a boon and a bane because right now that health bonus is going to hurt you. And like Dhadius is 1.7% of your max health every second. It's going to destroy your party. And for the click damage, it's going to prevent you from farming murder stacks unless you take familiars off the field. So you can't just farm familiars. I can't farm familiar stacks on this account now, just generically using the Dark Urge in a formation until I get closer to my wall and I'm actually killing with him and not Fire Breath. It's a little annoying. So there's a bane and a boon at the moment. But at the end, it's just an extra bonus that they're giving people who were already supporting the game anyway, and maybe an encouragement to support the game. I mean, it's a free-to-play game. They gotta keep the lights on. Lazy Cat asks, how are you doing today? Well, I hope. I mean, yeah. This is the first big thing I'm doing today, and it's going okay so far. After this, I'm going to go get some lunch. And then after that, I'm going to be streaming over on my channel, my new player account, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. So we're going to continue event stuff on my new player account. So if you're a newer player and you want to see this game not played like this on an account that's 6.5 years old with stuff everywhere, and you want to see something more akin to what you're experiencing, come join me about an hour after this stream ends over on my channel. What's something that's not all of this is on topic, but let me find that we'll get to all of them. Monulu, how do we get named silver chests in Event 2.0? Again, that's the event pack in the store that you're going to buy. If I go over to the Dark Urge and I go to buy a chest pack, it's 2 silvers and 1 gold. So if I click this, I get 3 chests now. And if I go over here, you can see there's my 2 silver the Dark Urge chests. Okay. So you're going to get a 2-to-1 ratio as you buy those. So you're going to get a lot of silver chests if you're buying a lot of gold chests. That's how you get those now. But again, that's the same. That's the flat ratio without including RNG that it was in the old system, but you had to run free plays for it before. Okay. Iceman, I had to read this a little bit. Would you recommend completing champions, I'm assuming in the event, or using it to get chests for already good ones? So I believe we're talking about the flex system. We're talking about the flex system. Your choice in who you flex is going to have to be based on your current progress in the game to a certain extent. Like on this account, I have everyone and they're all full epic. Okay. So I have to decide who do I just want to get some more chests on and get progress, like, because these don't have the permanent reward, the tier 3, tier 4 rewards, like a special feat and a consumable and the flex things. That's only going to happen as they become featured champions. I'm going to pick who I want to have done so that when their featured event rolls around, I've already got their bonuses. Ultimately, that's what I'm going to be doing, because I don't need the chests on this account. Or I'm going to target anybody who I'm using to push deep with, because I'm going to have a buff that lasts 60 days from the start of the event, right? Or alternately, I'm going to pick somebody who maybe I want more item levels on, right? Like, if I want Briv and I want to try, I'm already at a 4 jump, but if I'm like, maybe I'll go for 6. Maybe I dump a lot into Briv. If I've got Tatiana and I'm like, I want her to spawn, I want her to find more enemies when she runs off the screen, I could go here, right? These are like end game questions and problems. A lot of people are choosing Briv and trying to run Briv up as high as possible, which, yeah, understandable. Another solid end game champion is Miria. She helps keep you alive the further you are into the game, the further you are into the areas and stuff. She might be a good investment. Now, on my new player account, I don't really have anyone. My first event champs were the Dark Urge and Dhadius, and I had an Evergreen in Hitch, and I'd already unlocked Dritz. So I come to this screen with a whole different perspective. And that perspective is, give me Briv. Yes, yeah. Like, so, I mean, obviously, my first flex slot went to Briv, because on a new player account, if you can get that right away, yes, please. Yes, please. He's already carrying me through my event variants, because Briv's beefy like that. But after Briv, none of these others are really going to help a new player account directly. Like the Tatiana thing needs lots of item levels. Otherwise, she's not making you faster in the way that I would want as a new player. And Miri is really more end game. So then I'm left with these other champions. I'm like, So then what I'm doing and how I'm making my decisions is I am looking at who's going to get me to my next split the party first, like fastest. So for me, I have never split the party. So I'm going to start filling in the slots. I'm going to rule out Strix because the Dark Urge is there. I'm going to rule out, Briv, I had to take Briv because Briv, but otherwise Dhadius would have been there. If it had been any other champion, I wouldn't have picked them because they were already in Dhadius' slot. But I might pick Rosie. I might pick Alindra. I'm not going to pick Tatiana because I already got Hitch there for giving me 2 champions. I'm not going to pick Miria because I'm in Tomb of Annihilation in my regular campaign portion progress. And I'm going to get Azaka in slot 12. So then that means Regis and Cathris are both on the table along with Alindra and Rosie to help me get towards split the party faster. Now, it could be either split the party 1, 2, or 3 that you might be making decisions on, but this is another way. This is another way that you have to think about when you're picking those champions. If you've already unlocked all 3 split the parties, then you have to look for champions. Is it a new champion that's going to help you complete content you haven't been able to complete before? Or do you pick a champion who's not full epic yet and try to get them there? That's really subjective to your experience. Oh, here's the frost giant, folks. Thaddeus, shake off some of those chunks. There we go. I love that. I love it. I can't believe we're just face tanking this with the Dark Urge. And here's the nice thing. If the Dark Urge gets knocked out, here, we're going to watch Withers come out, folks. Here we go. Boom. Withers is like, no, get away. And he did. He can't do it. We broke Withers. We broke Withers. Oh, I love it. I bugged Withers out. Maybe he can't push the Frost Giant back. Maybe the Frost Giant's too big. Oh, no. But no, he should have pushed him back if we broke it. Why does it have to bug out when I'm on stream, Gabe? Why? Niscus asks, what does Withers Resurrection do with Spurt? Well, if Spurt's in his spirit form, nothing. If Spurt actually got killed, it would bring Spurt back to life. Croy Vergara, what champions do you recommend unlocking this event? I kind of went through my thought process there. Again, next week we're going to talk about all of the flex champions in a little more detail. But yeah, I think the year 1 and 2 champions may not be there later. That's not true at all. There are no more. Look, retirement is no longer a thing in this game. I want to make this very clear. I should have said this before. With the events 2.0 and flex slots, retirement is no longer a thing. Every event will show you the year 1 through 6 champions or beyond as we get into further years for that event, plus whoever they dumped into them from other events. These will always be available in events. You will always have these options in your flex slots going forward. Always. There is no more retirement. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Valdemar Knight wrote, is the supporter slot just champ plus boons, or is there something special about the champ? No, it's just an extra slot. It's like all the other slots. It doesn't change anything. It's just its cost instead of time gate pieces is you spent money in the shop on an event related DLC. Dice 42, do fire breath boons still apply in variants that turn off fire breath potions? They shouldn't, but I don't have a way to test that because I don't know that I have any available. They shouldn't because they're basically potions, but maybe they're not. That's a very good question. I have no idea. Cardosa. That's not a question. Okay, I'm going to go back and hit up all the general questions. So if I missed yours, I'm coming back to it. Jurathonis, who were the 2 dead people in your Desmond formation? I had 3. I believe I had Blushi tanking, I had Spurt splatted, and I had Astarion. Given an extra Ceramorphosis stack to the Dark Urge. Kimmy M, I'm hitting my wall around 940 and my bud is around E240. Any idea how much more I'll need to break 1,000? I have no idea. I don't keep track of that kind of information in my head. Yeah, if you're walling around 940, I mean, you need... Favor isn't going to help you anymore. What you're going to need is power from, like, upgraded Modron cores. Well, perks and blessings aren't really going to help that much at that point. But they might a little bit. Legendary effects are going to help, but I don't know exactly how much damage you would need to get past that. It's going to vary depending on what campaign you're in, or if you're in the event. So I don't know. Ken Ravip, in the collections quests, this is another new system in the game. I'm completing new adventures and variants, but my progress bars aren't advancing. Is this a bug? It sounds like it. Or might I be doing something wrong? You're probably not doing anything wrong. It's probably just a bug. It's probably the same problem that they have in a lot of this game that they never really fix, is that they'll introduce these things that show a progress bar, but on the software side of things, like in the code, it's just it's a binary. Did they complete them all or not? And then they have to, and we always submit them as tickets. so that they'll go in and fix the code and make it track progress. Also, happy daylight savings times to all who celebrate. Does anybody celebrate that? I think we're all like, ugh. Heads up, folks. In the United States, in most places in the United States, daylight savings time happens this weekend. So schedules, if you're outside of here, the stream schedules for anybody, for C&E games specifically, but for lots of people, are suddenly going to be different than what you're used to. So please check. It's not even it, but there's different places in Canada. Canada's different ways in different places too. Hate it so much. Daldindin, how important to tanking are the overwhelm feats? They can be incredibly helpful. It depends. 10 doesn't seem like that big of a difference. So here's the way overwhelm works. Your overwhelm number. Let's pull up a tank so I can show this. So your overwhelm number up here. It's usually 5 on squishies and then a higher number on tanks. This is the amount they become overwhelmed after this amount. After you get, like, when you go from up to 20, you're just taking regular base damage from all the enemies. But from 21 on, they take the number of enemies, including, like, starting at 21 times a bonus, and every enemy's damage goes up. All of them. Okay, so the second you get over that overwhelm, you start taking increased damage, and the more enemies that start to keep attacking you, even more. So what you have to figure out when you're trying to select your feats for tanks is, what is killing me? Am I dying before overwhelm or after? If I'm dying before, if Sentry's dying before I get to 20 enemies, I need more health. But if I start dying because we tick to 21 and the damage is just too much and she just falls over, then I need to raise her overwhelm. And in some cases you might need to do both to get the maximum tanking out of someone. But you need to pay very close attention to what exactly is making your tank fall over when you're choosing whether you're going to use like a health feat or an overwhelm feat or some combination. 10 can be a big difference if you're falling over at 25 and they started at 20, because 30, if you go from 20 to 30, you won't be taking that bonus damage, and you might make it through the levels. You've got to kind of pay attention and figure that out. Art Demissive, did they take silvers out of time gates? They haven't changed time gates at all currently. Rough Rider, how many pages is your questions document? So this is the Gaarawarr's Guides Question Doc 2024. It's currently at 35 pages. However, I pulled up last year's because we have to change them regularly for overwhelm reasons. Last year's was 188. We made it to 188. I think the one before that was over 200 pages. And what happens is when you get over like 200 pages in a Google Doc, because that's what we're using, it kind of starts freaking out on you, and starts having lots of issues. So we just have to make a new one. And I was like, this year, I was like, can we just make a new one for the year? And I think we did that the year before too. And that just keeps things clean, because otherwise it starts having problems over like 200 pages. Refrigerator also asks, one of the tags for this stream is art. When you will be drawing or singing? No, it isn't. It's Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. It says English Idle Champions Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you got to refresh your Twitch. Evil Emperor Zerg, have you picked up your Cadbury cream egg yet? I have not. I love Cadbury cream eggs, and I only buy them around roughly this time of the year. Num num num. I will get them. That's the one thing I love. Around this time of the year. Don't get me wrong, I also like Reese's peanut butter eggs, but I mean, said art when the question was asked. Oh, then it was just stuck on the wrong thing. I think what happened is, actually, I know exactly what happened. Yesterday, Paint and Slay, because somebody commented this on my stream. Yesterday, Paint and Slay is an art stream that happens on Fridays, and then there was a stream after that, and it didn't get changed back to Idle Champions. So today, you wouldn't normally check because it would have changed back yesterday, and so whatever. I am an artiste. I create guides. Is that not enough for you? There. Coco Plant, what happens to the champions whose event gets retired? Will they switch to another event? Yeah, that's why Regis and Cathris are here. Their event is no longer going to come around, so they got moved over here. That's why I said it says year one champion, but it needs to say what event they were from. It really does. Because then people are like, but wait, I thought that other champ. I thought Strix was the year one champion. But that's midwinter. So Regis was midwinter. I think Cathris was as well. Let me just double check. Yeah, they both arrived in midwinter, and that's not going to be a thing anymore. So there you go. And we are. Oh, he did the knockback thing. Good for him. He did it right that time. We just didn't get to see it. Or no, you saw it maybe. No, we had the thing covered. Hey, we got past 115 with 2 champion. All right. I don't even have a tank. What's he just saying? Gabe didn't say that. Gabe didn't say that. All right, I'm out of questions, folks. So let me. I did not finish gearing up my Dark Urge. You know what? We need to buy some chests. So let's do some Dark Urge chests. So we're gonna do. Yeah. No. I'm just gonna do 500,000. Well, that's the closest I can get. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Buy now. Yes. Did it work? That's a lot. I just asked it to do a lot. Okay, it did. I just asked it to do a lot. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump all these silvers in. Didn't get any shinies. Shinies are 1 in 1,000 chance, but sometimes you get lucky. I am going to get shinies from this pack. Let's open these. I get 2 because this was from that store pack, so I'm guaranteed 2 shinies out of these chests. Interesting. Okay. And then, no, I don't want to go. I've still got more over here. I've got 75 more, and that's going to get me to full epic, and then some. Okay. Now I have a fully geared Dark Urge, and I can do the higher tiers of stuff. So this ended up on just self-damage shiny and Ceramorphosis. Hey, that's a place I would want it. So one of those shinies landed well. The other one I'm going to want is Living on the Edge. Shiny. I don't think I have any. Oh, I do. I want to do that on Dhadius or Dark Urge. I want to do it on the Dark Urge. So we're going to go ahead and do Living on the Edge. Okay. All right, and I am, over average item level 200, and that's usually what I shoot for. Excuse me, shoot on what? I'm shooting for somewhere around there usually. With every champion. 217. Eventually, I'll end up running the Dark Urge up with blacksmithing contracts to 1,000. That's just what I do with mathematically overpowered champions. But I won't be doing that today. But what I will do is the thing that I always upset super min-max players with, and I'm gonna full legendary once again. Don't do this, folks. Do not do this. This is a waste of your scales. It is inefficient use of your scales. I just like all my gear being dark orange. So full legendary on all my champions. Don't do it. It's a trap. It really is. There's 133 champions in the game, and I really only need a very small group. So over 100 champions have scales that aren't even really being effectively used because they're all level 1, and they could have taken my other champions up to super high upgrade levels. I like everything being shiny. And then the other thing that I want to do to prep for the next event is I'm going to want to open up a bunch of chests. Now, before I was opening up about 2,500, and I was going to raise that to 3,000. I don't have enough, I don't think. I don't have the gems. I got to do some gem farming before the next event comes around. But popping, I'm gonna drop. Oh God, I hope I remember this. I'm gonna open 1,000 right now because what this is gonna do. One of the reasons I open this up, one is to get all the new feats for the new champion. So I'm gonna get all the Dark Urges feats with this. The second is I'm refilling with all these gold chests. I'm refilling all the bounty contracts for the next event. There's a couple shinies. It doesn't matter. They're dupes. I don't care. I want these feats though. Oh, and the Dark Urge got new ones. Cool. Or, I mean, Dhadius got a new one too. So I got a new Dhadius feat as well. Yeah, okay. So I got the Dhadius feat that got added. And I have all the chest feats for the Dark Urge now. And then I can, if I just want to full on get all the Dark Urge, I could grab this. You know what? I am. Okay, so I'm fully feeded out on the Dark Urge. Now let me choose. We're going to go Living on the Edge 80-40, Ceramorphosis 40. There. With that 400%. That should give him solid damage. And the Ceramorphosis 40 is actually Living on the Edge 40. Both of those are going to be better than that 60% self-damage because they apply pre-stack on a multiplicatively stacking ability. So those are the rare instances where you're not just choosing the highest number. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We got some new questions here. The Strong Hearts serve any purpose now that seasons are on hiatus? I mean, he's still a mathematically overpowered champion. His Righteous Might, I believe it's Righteous Might. Yes. Righteous Might is a mathematically overpowered ability. It may not read that way, but it creates a buff, and then every time he crits. So if you crit a lot, that buff builds stacks of itself. It's maybe misunderstood to some people, but that's a multiplicatively stacking ability with pre-stack item and feat support. So he is a MOP champion. He is a mathematically overpowered champion. He just doesn't have those season bonuses. Like he has that season night feat that gives you credit, and he has a specialization there. You've got to choose one of his other two specializations that were functional to use him. So yeah, he still has a purpose. They've talked about maybe changing him to give event boosts, but if they do, that means they're really not looking to have seasons come back. So Funny Cinema, will all the champions in current events still be unlockable after the event ends? All champions in the game are unlockable via time. All the event champions in the game are always unlockable via time gates. Now you'll see some of these grayed out right now, like Briv. That's because you can unlock him in the event. But once the event ends, these will go full color again, and you can choose them via time gates. So all event champions are always unlockable via 6 time gate pieces from a time gate. Now you just have the ability to flex some of them into in events. Lazy Cat, for the champs I can complete tier 4, will there be any reason to pick them again next year? If you complete all of it, the only reason to select them again would be if you wanted to buy their more chests for them with your event tokens. That would be it. Because they don't like, all I have available is the Dark Urge and Dhadius. Lizaps is because there's a wild offer going on. But if I can't pick, like this I can't use event tokens here, right? Because they're not available in this event. If I don't select the champion in a flex slot, I can't buy chests for them with tokens. That would be the only reason. And Hunterama, in Tiamat, do I need to run the first day multiple times to maximize the DPS contribute? Maybe. I don't understand how that number is calculated. Favor, farthest level reach. No, it's Bud. Headhunter Armor, it's Bud. It's your Bud. And what it's doing is it's looking. I'd love to show you, but I'm not in one at the moment. It's additively stacking your Bud. So what you're doing in your first day on Tiamat is the most important day, because what you're trying to do is soft cap your champions. Now, if you can't do that in your first run, then you want to grab as much favor as you can, do another run on day 1 to get your champions to soft cap, because that's going to be the largest. Then you know you are contributing the largest amount of damage you can. And then it's just get it to the highest amount of Bud you can and sustain that for a while. Kind of like a gold farm you might sit and try to sustain for a while. You're effectively Bud farming, because if you're at E500 Bud, like you hit it once, sure, that's great. But if you want to get it just some more, then just sit there for a long time, and it's just going to start adding like 1 E500 over and over, and you may tick up a few more numbers. It's not going to be a lot. Ultimately, you're looking just to try to get your Bud to the highest number possible, and then sit there for a little bit. Like, let it be a bit consistent, and they'll see that number, that damage contribution, go up on the outside based off that. But if you spike super high at some point and then drop down to a lower and you can't get it to spike again, then you're basically done, because you've set the highest Bud and effectively set your highest damage contribution that you can. Okay, real quickly here, because we're out of time, and I need to get out of here. Ricardo says, Sarah Golden Epic for Dark Urge is Sweetener this weekend. That's not a question, but Ceramorphosis is multiplicatively stacking. If you're going to buy something for the Dark Urge this weekend, there's another Golden Epic available because he's in the weekend buffs. And C-Max, last question. Will the Resisting the Urge feat only be available via the event? Via completing tier 3 of tiers. Right now, that's only doable in an event. We are all hoping that they changed time gates to allow you to do that, but right now that's only available in the event. It is not something that you will be able to get with gems in the future. It is a progress based reward. Okay, that's going to be everything. You can find me on my channel. I just put my name in there. You can click it and then toss me a follow. In about an hour, playing some more Idle Champions on my new player account. You can always come over, hang out. We have a good time. Hit me up with questions there. But I'm going to go get some lunch. Thank you to all of you for asking questions. Thank you to Gabe for grabbing them all. The song we're going out on is in honor of Gale's hand, sort of. Mage Hand. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Mage hand, picking your pocket with my mage hand. Mage hand, mage hand, won't see it coming 'cause you just can't. When a bell needs ringing or a trap needs springing, when a bag needs scratching or a door unlatching, if you're needing help out of a jam, here's a cantrip that does all it can. Mage hand, picking your pocket with my mage hand. Mage hand, won't see it coming 'cause you just can't.